Happy New Year and welcome to the White Mountain Community Garden. We've got a cold day going on here, but our thoughts are still with gardening. We are amending the soil in the high tunnel with a view to planting in the next month or so. We're also planning the garden for the growing season and looking at what can we do to keep our garden interest going throughout this winter. So welcome and enjoy the show.
Hi, Ann Cameron from the Community Garden. We're trying to amend the soil in the tunnel so that we can start planting in a month or so. What we're going to do is then add peat moss, sulfur, and nitrogen to it. And then we're going to spread that over the rows. Here we are, we're in the tunnel now with half a wheelbarrow full of unnutriented dirt. And now we're going to sprinkle some nitrogen in here because this soil in here has absolutely no nitrogen. And some sulfur because all plants, I guess, love sulfur. Then we're going to put a third of a bag of peat moss. Oh, it does? Which balances the pH and, well, no, and adds a lot of other nutrients to our soil, which we don't have. Our soil in here was like 8.5, which is very alkaline and very unhealthy for plants, for the plants that we have here, for our tomatoes and beans. So we've added a third of a bag of the peat moss here.
Peat moss first became available to gardeners in the mid-1900s, and since then it has revolutionized the way we grow plants. It has a remarkable ability to manage water efficiently and hold on to nutrients that would otherwise leach out of the soil. While performing these amazing tasks, it also improves the texture and consistency of the soil. Peat moss is a dead fibrous material that forms when mosses and other living material decompose in peat bogs. The difference between peat moss and the compost gardeners make in their backyard is that peat moss is composed mostly of moss and the decomposition happens without the presence of air, slowing the rate of decomposition. Gardeners use peat moss mainly as a soil amendment or ingredient in potting soil. It has an acid pH, so it's ideal for acid-loving plants such as blueberries and camellias. For plants that like a more alkaline soil, compost may be a better choice. Since it doesn't compact or break down readily, one application of peat moss lasts for several years. Peat moss doesn't contain harmful microorganisms or weed seeds that you may find in poorly processed compost. Peat moss is an important component of most potting soils and seed starting mediums. It holds several times its weight in moisture and releases the moisture to the plant roots as needed. It also holds onto nutrients so that they aren't rinsed out of the soil when you water the plant. Peat moss alone does not make a good potting medium. It must be mixed with other ingredients to make up between 1/3 to 2/3 of the total volume of the mix. Peat moss is sometimes called sphagnum peat moss because much of the dead material in a peat bog comes from sphagnum moss that grew on top of the bog. An exciting new project is beginning in the garden. We're going to have a gazebo. It's going to be used as a greeting and meeting area for all garden members. We can take a break out of the sun, enjoy a cool beverage, and admire our beautiful plants. The new garden season has its very beginning in planning meetings where many topics are up for discussion. The garden underwent a radical redevelopment in late 2016 and early 2017 to level the land, add amendments, and a watering system that will be much more efficient and economical. The old raised beds were replaced with new raised beds, connecting pathways that are much more ADA accessible, and other growing spaces were redeveloped as well. These include policies and rules, planning our crops, where we'll put them, and successive planting. We also get into discussing programs for children and our education schedule. Safety in the garden is also a very important topic. Along with strategies for water conservation during the growing season.
This year, we've got a brand new in-ground, electrically run water system. We're just tickled. It's been such a fabulous addition to our garden. I didn't really understand what it was all about until Don, the waterman who put it in, came and explained it to me. It begins here at this box. This is the watering brain, and it does take electricity to run. That electricity comes from solar panels on the roof. Tony Tangelos put those in for us. And even on a cloudy day, which it was yesterday, we still have 12.5 amps of power to run this machine. There are 12 different sections in this garden that this machine runs, from this huge help garden, which is 3 stations, to the in-ground personal gardens, 2 sections, and then our raised beds are 3, 4, 5, 6 sections, and our high tunnel is another section. Getting all of these in sync has been a real fun thing to do, and I've had to really learn how to do it to make sure everything gets watered just right. I have found some getting watered too much, some not enough, so we do that. And that reminds me of years ago when we worked here. We had the back and forth sprinklers. I must have had 4 of them out here watering, and then there was the night I forgot to turn them off. Yeah, flood in the morning, never good. That's never good. But they did get watered, but who knows what else got watered. Half the town that way when the wind was blowing. We've come so far. Not only do we have the pipe, but the T-tape coming off the pipe for every square foot of plantable ground here. And because it's strip tape, we plant right along the tape, right along it, because it drips about 4 inches on each side of the tape. So it waters basically right where we have the plants. And we plant right by the tape. So it only waters this much. We hope we're saving water that way, and just watering where the plants need it.
Hi, I'm Denise Ball. I'm a member of the White Mountain Community Garden, and I do their onion starts for them. I started their onions last year, and so this is the 2nd year that we're starting onions from seed. We start them in the middle of October because the onions do have a extremely long growing season. I start the onion seeds in my greenhouse. I start them in 6-packs, and I mix my own soil to go in the 6-packs, which consists of 30% cinder sand, 30% compost, and 30% peat moss. Start them in small 6-packs, and in each 6-pack I put approximately 4 seeds. Now last year we started enough seeds for 1,800 starts. Unfortunately, not all our seeds germinated, but we did have quite a few. They grow in the greenhouse from the middle of October until about the 1st of April. And every now and then you You let them grow. They grow wonderful through the cool weather. You can start harvesting them anytime the bulbs start to show above the ground. You can harvest them green. You can wait until the tops die down, which is probably July timeframe, and harvest them then for storage. And we can grow several different kinds of onions up here, but they have to be either short day or intermediate day to be very successful. The ones we've grown here in the past have been the Texas Super Sweet. They're also called the Texas 1015s, and we've grown red Creoles, and we've grown white Granos, and actually we just grow whatever onions. I just grow whatever onions are provided to me. I had 6 flats of them last year, and in those 6 flats there were a ton of onions. And did you know that onions are also in the grass family? They are not considered a root crop because the roots are underneath the bulb that you eat.
We're the White Mountain Community Garden. Come out and join us, meet new friends, and grow great food. Yeah!
Have fun!